During the math class, Mrs. Stevens had a task for the students. They had to say, what was 3 plus 3 times 3? 2 people raised their hands, and she asked both. Toby said that the answer was 18. Cassidy disagreed and said that the answer was 12. Who is right? Cassidy. The multiplication is always done first, so we multiply 3 by 3, that's 9. Then we add another 3 and get 12. It takes Genevieve 12 seconds to cut one loaf of bread into 5 pieces. How much time does she need to cut the same loaf into 6 pieces? "15 seconds to cut the bread into 5 pieces. She must make 4 cuts. If it takes her 12 seconds to make 4 cuts, it means she makes 1 cut in 3 seconds. If she now wants to cut the bread into 6 pieces, she needs to make 5 cuts. And since 5 cuts takes 3 seconds each, the combined time will be 15 seconds. How many years in the 21st century have had 365 days? Some of the years did have 366 days, and still, all of the years have had 365. So starting with 2001, it's been 20 years by now. No time to explain, but Tim needs to break into his mom's computer. The problem is that he doesn't know the passcode, but here's a hint. What's the passcode? Each consonant in the word equals 200 points, and each vowel takes away 100 points. In the word kiwi, there are 2 consonants that make 400 points. 2 vowels take away 200 points, so the passcode is 200. Lucas and Liam went for a walk. They found a cool tree and decided to climb up to the top of it. Who is less smart? Lucas. The branch he's going to use is about to crack. He's in for a nasty fall. Michael and Logan are bloggers. To boost their popularity, they decided to take selfies in dangerous places. Michael is taking a selfie while surfing a huge wave, and Logan is taking one standing on the edge of a bridge. Who is in greater danger? Michael. Logan at least has some people around. They'll notice if something happens and call the emergency services. Michael is alone. Thomas and Abigail were going on a date. Thomas arrived half an hour earlier and decided to go and buy some flowers. Abigail had just returned from London and was driving to meet the guy. Who is doing something wrong? Abigail. She's driving on the left side of the road. Elizabeth and Melanie are getting ready for a barbecue party in the garden. Elizabeth is cooking and Melanie is decorating the garden. Who is not smart? Elizabeth. While she's cooking, the meat is going bad in the sun. It was June, and students were going to have their most difficult exam. Each of them was assigned to a particular seat, but a professor was paying special attention to one of the students. He supposed they were going to cheat. Who was his suspect and why? It's this blonde girl. In June, the weather is great and all students are lightly dressed. And still, this girl is wearing high boots and a sweater with long sleeves. Ella got a new motorbike. She locked it in her garage and left for work. When she came back home and opened the garage, the motorbike was missing. The woman called the police. The officer interrogated 3 of her neighbors. Ryan said that he'd been away the whole day and hadn't seen anything. Colin said, "When I was walking the dog, the motorbike was still there." Jane said that she had come to Ella's house to ask her for some garden tools, but Ella hadn't been there, so she'd left. Who stole the motorbike? It was Colin. He said he'd seen the motorbike in the garage, but the door was closed, so he couldn't possibly spot the bike. Look at the sequence of letters. What should be the next one? Each of these letters is the first letter of some day of the week. S stands for Sunday, M for Monday, and then we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The only one that's left is Saturday, so we need an S. Mark was locked in a dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but none of them looked safe. Behind the first door, there was a huge and strong guard. Behind the second door, there were 3 big and very hungry dogs. Behind the third door, there were many little robots that were ready to charge at Mark at any second. Which way should the guy opt for to get out and stay safe? I'd say the third one. Although there are angry little robots, they're still super small and probably can't cause much harm. Emily woke up in a weird place she'd never been before. She looked around and saw 3 ways out. But there was a catch. Behind the first door, there was an iron block with a motion sensor that would crush everyone who entered the room. Behind the second door, there was an electric shock device that never missed. Behind the third door, there was broken glass all over the floor. Which way should Emily choose? She should pick the third door. She's wearing boots, so walking on the glass is definitely not going to be too hard of a task for her. Stella called the police and said that her friend had been poisoned. She told them what happened. I was supposed to meet with Alice, but I arrived too early. So I went to pick her up at her house. I knocked, but no one answered the door. The light was on, so I knew Alice must be at home. I had a spare key, so I opened the door myself. I found her in the room unconscious with an empty glass by her side. The police officer asked if Stella had touched anything. The girl said she had only touched the door, the glass, and her friend. After that, she got arrested. Why? She said the lights had been on, but she didn't say anything about touching the light switch. But when the police entered the house, the lights were off. Mrs. Donnell reported that she'd been robbed. She said, "I was in the restaurant's bathroom fixing my makeup when someone approached me from behind and hit me on the head. I didn't see what this person looked like." The police sent the woman home and refused to fill the report. Why? The woman was fixing her makeup. This means she was looking in the mirror. If someone had tried to approach her from the back, she would have definitely seen this person. But she said she hadn't. She probably made the whole story up. A cleaning man was washing the windows in an office building and fell from the 3rd floor. Everyone agreed it must have been an accident. Luckily, Detective Callum was nearby. Once he came closer and saw what had happened, he concluded that it couldn't have been an accident. Someone pushed the man out of the window. How did he understand it? Look, the window the guy fell out of is now closed. If it had been just an accident, the window would still remain open. Sophia and Brooke went camping in the forest. Who is less smart? Brooke. Look, she's wearing heels. Nicole and Kate are late for work. They're both driving fast, breaking the speed limit. Which of them is in greater danger? Kate. She has many things lying around in her car. In case of an accident, something is likely to hit her. Jessica and Margot are jaywalking. Jessica is listening to music and Margot is texting her friend. Who is in greater danger? Jessica. Although they're both breaking the rules, Margot is doing it in a place where she can be easily noticed by drivers, and Jessica is jaywalking right where the road takes a turn. Drivers might not have enough time to react and stop. Allison and Maddie are doing housework. Allison is hanging the laundry outside, and Maddie is vacuum cleaning the basement. Who is less smart? Allison. She's hanging the laundry outside, but it's raining. After Theodore was shipwrecked, he found himself on a deserted island. Luckily, he still had his pills. There were 2 green and 2 yellow ones left. He needed to take 1 green and 1 yellow pill every day. The problem was that the man couldn't see anything at all and couldn't tell the color of the pills. There wasn't a soul around to help him. How can he manage it? Theodore should break each of the 4 pills into half and eat half of each of the 4. This way, he'll eat exactly 1 green and 1 yellow pill. Camilla and Vivian are sisters. For her birthday, Vivian got a beautiful bracelet. Camilla liked it too and occasionally borrowed it. One day, Vivian noticed that the bracelet was gone again. She knocked on her sister's door.
Oh, no.
Camilla opened it, saw Vivian, shut the door again, and locked it. Half a minute later, Vivian broke into the room and started searching for the bracelet, but she didn't find anything. Then she realized where the accessory was. Have you figured it out? Vivian remembered that when Camilla first opened the door, she had her hair down, but now she has her hair up. She has put her hair in a bun and hid the bracelet there.
This is Easton. He was walking in the forest. Unfortunately, he got lost. It was cold since it was winter. After wandering around for a while, Easton saw 3 roads. All of them seemed dangerous. If the guy took the road leading to the left, he'd have to go through the area where a pack of hungry wolves lived. If he went straight ahead, he'd go through a place inhabited by huge brown bears. The right road would lead him to a lake covered with thin ice. Which way should Easton choose? He should pick the road leading straight ahead. The brown bears living there won't be dangerous. It's winter, and these animals sleep during this season. Serena went to the spookiest house in the neighborhood on her own. That definitely was a mistake. When she got inside, the door got locked behind her. Now she had 3 ways out. Behind the first door, there was a zombie. Behind the second door, there was a vampire. Behind the third door, there was an angry ghost. Ooh. Which way is the safest? Serena should choose the third door. Ghosts may be spooky, but they can't cause any real harm. Serena told her friends about her adventures and, of course, they didn't believe her. So the next night, one of them, Rylan, decided to go to the house too. Once he walked in, the door behind him got locked. And again, there were 3 ways out. But this time, behind the first door, there was a huge magnifying glass. It used the light from the sun to burn anyone and anything that was inside. Behind the second door, there was a huge dragon that disliked strangers. And behind the third door, there was a hungry lion. Which way should Rylan choose to survive? Luckily for him, it's night. There's no sun, so the magnifying glass won't cause any harm. The first door is the safest choice. Archer was going to throw a birthday party. He invited all his friends. But that was also the day when he found out that one of them was an alien. Can you tell who? It's Alex. Look, both of his shoes are left one. That's weird. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat sweets. Studying is against the law. Mrs. Noslow came home after a party in a club and asked her daughters about their day. Eve said she had been playing computer games all day long. Anna said she'd invited her friends over. They made a huge pizza and ate it together. Hannah said she hadn't even left her bed. She was watching YouTube videos. In reality, one of the girls was secretly studying. Ooh. Hannah, look at her hands. There are some ink stains. If she had been watching YouTube, she wouldn't have used a pen. Karina was going to become a historian. After classes, she liked to go to the History Museum to read her books and learn new things. One day, while the girl was studying there, she went to the bathroom, leaving her stuff behind. When she returned, she discovered that her wallet was missing. Noelle said she never paid attention to Karina or her stuff. Tucker said that at that time, he was on the phone with his friend. Lyra said she hadn't stolen anything. Who lied? Tucker. It's prohibited to talk on the phone in the museum. Mrs. Moore had a rule. If her daughters wanted to eat ice cream in the evening, they had to do some housework during the day. On a rainy Tuesday, she came back from work and asked her daughters what they'd done. Charlotte said she'd vacuum cleaned the second floor. Indiana said she'd done the laundry. Polaris said she'd watered the plants in the garden. Who didn't eat ice cream that day? Polaris. She said she'd watered the flowers. But why would she do it if it was raining outside? Detective Callum is on a mission to find a vampire and an elf. He knows that the vampire lives in the red house on the left side of the neighborhood. Look closely at this family and find the vampire. It's this guy. He's walking past the mirror, but there's no reflection. Now back to the elf. He lives in the greenhouse on the right side of the neighborhood. Detective Callum has started to watch this building too. Luckily, he has only spotted 2 people. But who is the elf? It must be this guy. Look, his ears are pointed. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell called the police. They said that their son, a private school student, hadn't come back from school. The problem was that he suffered from amnesia. The police started to search the city. They found 3 teenagers with amnesia who didn't know their names or the names of their parents. And still, they managed to figure out who Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son was. Can you understand it? It's the guy in the middle. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son went to school in the morning and didn't return, so he must still be wearing his school uniform. Phoebus crossed the border of 2 countries every day, riding his bike and wearing a huge backpack. The custom officers checked his bag every day but couldn't find anything prohibited. And still, they were sure that Phoebus was up to no good. They were actually right, but they couldn't understand what was wrong. Can you figure it out? Look, every time, Phoebus rides a different bike. He smuggles bikes right in front of their noses. Mrs. Adams came back home. She had 3 children who were grounded and not allowed to watch TV. When she was about to get into the house, she heard that the TV was on. But when she entered, it had already been turned off. Serenity was in the garden. She said she had been redoing her flower bed for the last couple of hours. Cressida was upstairs in her room doing her homework. Everett was in the garage playing the guitar. Who lied? Serenity. No one works in the garden wearing a dress. Also, she's completely clean and doesn't have any garden tools with her. Oliver is terrible at packing. Whenever he goes somewhere, he always takes the stuff he'll never need. Today, he's packing to go camping in the forest. Take a look inside his bag and decide what he won't need on the trip. Look, there's an electric kettle. There's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Now look at what Oliver has packed for a weekend at his parents' house. What things won't he need? There are 2 huge towels. I'm pretty sure his parents have spare towels. He can leave them at home. Oliver is going on vacation to a deserted island. He will spend a couple of days there, trying to survive on his own. What things won't he need on the island? Oh boy, don't take this laptop with you. It'll run out of power really fast. Susie was finally going on vacation, and she was planning to spend it in Mexico. She lived alone, so she asked her friend to look after her plants and her cat. The friend agreed and took them to her house. When Susie returned, she realized that someone had been in her house while she had been away. How did Susie understand it? Susie lives alone, but look, several packages were delivered while she was away, and somehow they are inside, not outside the house. Elijah got into a road accident. He crashed into a tree. He smashed his car and got several bruises himself. He didn't break any rules, and still, when the police arrived, they noticed one small detail and took his driver's license away. Why? Elijah is wearing glasses. He's got a couple of cuts on his face, but his glasses aren't broken, even a bit. The police suspected that even though the guy had poor eyesight, he wasn't wearing his glasses while driving. He must have put them on only after the accident. Sebastian was a famous archaeologist who dedicated his life to finding the treasures of ancient civilizations. One day, he found a chest full of golden coins in a cave. They dated back to 2000 BCE. For some reason, Sebastian was terribly disappointed with this discovery. Why? The coins were fake. Back in 2000 BCE, people didn't know they were living in the era before the current one, so they couldn't possibly have engraved this date on their coins. Nice catch.
Look at these squares. Which one is bigger, yellow or green? All these black and white squares usually confuse perception, but it becomes obvious that the green square is larger than the yellow one if we put them away. Eric is a police officer. One night, he was walking home from work and noticed a suspicious woman. She carried a huge bag nearby an expensive house. Eric questioned the woman. According to her, it was her house, and she carried some clothes she didn't need anymore to give away to her relatives. Eric arrested her immediately. Why? There are traces in the snow. Some footprints belong to Eric, and others to the woman. But the woman's footprints lead to the window. Why would she leave the house through the window if it really was her home? Therefore, she's a robber. Someone stole an expensive painting from a local museum. The guards locked all doors and windows in the building and called the police. Detective Roberts found 3 suspects among the museum visitors. George is an art student, and he was making sketches all day. Helen had a yoga class nearby and decided to check out the new exhibition. And Rick said he was just visiting the sights of the city as an ordinary tourist. Can you spot a robber among them? It's Helen. She hid the painting inside her yoga mat, and the rest of the guys have really small backpacks. Nina is an insurance agent. One day, her client Peter called her to an accident scene. He said that he had arrived at that area for a barbecue party and his friends would be there in 2 hours. He stopped and got out of the car. Suddenly, the car began to move and fell into the lake. But Nina didn't believe him. Why? She saw the footprints. He pushed the car into the lake himself. After dinner, billionaire Rick felt extremely bad. Doctors said that he had been poisoned. His private detective interrogated the cleaning lady, his wife, and the cook. Each of them claimed that they had nothing to do with the crime. The detective searched the house and found a jar with poison and a glove stained with poison. After studying the evidence very carefully, he realized who had poisoned Rick. How? The glove is left-handed, which means that the poisoner was left-handed. The only left-handed person is the cook. He holds a soup ladle in his left hand. Tom and Sarah were walking in a forest. Suddenly, a witch appeared in front of them. He grabbed Sarah and took her to a creepy castle. Tom rushed to the castle. He saw through a window that the witch turned Sarah into a frog. When the witch left the castle, Tom snuck inside to save Sarah. He found a spell book and opened it. There was a potion recipe to turn Sarah back into a human. Which ingredients should he add to the potion? Snail. Take away an S letter and you get a nail. An orange heart without a letter T turns into orange hair. Mr. Green is an old artist. He used to live alone, but he hired 3 nurses to help him around the house when he lost his sight. One day, one of the nurses found him unconscious in his bedroom. She called the ambulance. Police officers also arrived and questioned all the 3 nurses. Wendy said that Mr. Green asked her to read him a novel, and then she left him to cook dinner. Amy said that she had played video games with Mr. Green, and he seemed pretty healthy. Diana said, "I came over and found him unconscious," and called the police right away. Who's lying? Amy, Mr. Green was blind, and he couldn't be playing video games. 4 scientists went to a physics conference in one car. It was raining all day, heavily. They drove into a long tunnel. It was very dark inside. When the car left the tunnel, Tina was unconscious. They stopped and called an ambulance. Detectives questioned all passengers. What were you doing when you were in the tunnel? Alex was listening to music with headphones on and didn't hear anything. Bobby was sleeping and saw nothing. Diana was focused on the road because it was raining and she had to drive carefully. Who is lying? Diana. It wasn't raining inside the tunnel. Lily got lost in a forest. She got thirsty, but there were no lakes or rivers around her. What should Lily do? Use the flesh of a cactus, collect water from leaves using a plastic bag, or drink from a dirty puddle? Cactus flesh has toxic elements dangerous for humans. Plus, what a weird cactus it is. These guys don't really grow in forests. Water from the puddle probably contains many bacteria, so the safest option is to collect water from leaves. Bill got lost in a forest. He doesn't have a lighter or matches. Help Bill to build a fire. He should use his glasses as a lens, direct sunlight onto dry grass, and wait until it lights up. He can also try rubbing a branch against another branch, but this process may take hours. Bob woke up in a creepy basement with 3 doors. There was a woman behind each of them. Can you help Bob find a safe way? Can you see animal claw traces? There's a wild animal behind this door. And the second woman doesn't look safe either. She has spiders in her hair. The third woman is the safest option, even though she looks like a witch. Kim and Stacy went hiking in a forest. They stopped for the night, and Stacy went to collect some berries. Suddenly, a witch appeared out of nowhere and turned Stacy into stone. Kim got nervous and went looking for Stacy, but she met the witch instead.
I turned your friend into stone. Find the right stone and pour this potion. It will turn your friend back to human.
The witch said these words and disappeared. Can you help Kim to save Stacy? There shouldn't be any grass under a real big stone. Meanwhile, Sarah has only been a stone for a few hours. Therefore, we need a stone with some grass underneath. Voila! It was Jerry's birthday. He brought a big box with chocolate cakes to treat his friends from college. When the class was almost over, Jerry went to the bathroom. He was so excited to celebrate and share treats with his friends, but the box was empty when he returned. Help Jerry find out who has eaten all the cakes. This lady over here seems pretty suspicious. Is this chocolate on her cheek? Let's challenge your color perception. What colors should you mix to get green? The correct answer is B. What colors should you mix to get orange? The correct answer is B. What color should you mix to get pink? The correct answer is A. Look at this picture. We can see Josh falling into a black hole while his colleague Jill is screaming for help. But the very next day, Josh has returned to the space station. How is this possible? It was April Fool's Day, and the astronauts decided to play a trick on Jill. Lisa told a police officer that her house had been robbed. The most expensive painting was hanging above the bed, but now it's gone. The officer asked, "Have you touched anything here?" And Lisa said, "No." The policeman recorded Lisa's story, and he looked around the house and arrested her for fraud. Why? The blanket is in perfect order. If someone had removed the picture from the wall, they would have gotten on the bed. There are three options: a desert with a couple of cacti, a sunny meadow with an apple and a glass of water, and a sea beach with sharp rocks. One bucket, one glass, and some plastic bags. Which place would you choose? There's no water in the desert, and cacti might be toxic. You can't survive on one apple and one glass of water. But the beach is a great choice. It will provide you with food, and you can prepare fresh water using the stuff on the shore. Put a cup into a bucket. Pour seawater, close it with a plastic bag, and place a little stone in the middle, and leave it out in the sun for a while, and it will get fresh water. Detective Fred was found unconscious. According to doctors, he was poisoned. The suspects are Helen, Nick, Jane, and Dan. Before the accident, Fred circled numbers in his calendar: 12, 4, 11. Who poisoned him? It was Dan. Fred encrypted the answer using the first letters of each month. Kelly and Sarah gathered together for a cozy sleepover. Sarah opened a dating app and showed Kelly messages from 3 guys. She asked Kelly to help her choose a good guy. Andrew just bought a new car and offered Sarah to have a ride. Rick sent a picture from an airport and said his boss had sent him on a business trip. Will said he lived alone in a country house. Who is lying? Rick has 2 tickets in his pocket, and Will doesn't live alone. There are 2 phones and sunglasses on the table. Therefore, Kelly chose to date Andrew. Everyone who wants to work in a secret laboratory in the mysterious city of T has to pass a test. If you solve at least half of these riddles, you'll land the job. Level 1. Here, each correct answer will bring you 1 point. Even when it passes in front of the sun, it doesn't cast a shadow. What is it? It's the wind. Look at these logos of one of the largest sportswear manufacturers. Which is the correct one? Look at these pretty fish. One of them is different from the rest. Which one is it? This one in the middle. Its eyes are slightly bigger than those of the others. Look at this rebus riddle. Can you figure out what it means? It's 1 in a million. Move one match to fix this equation. Right you are. 9 minus 9 is indeed 0. Can you remove 5 matchsticks to get 5 equal triangles? That's how you do it. Tricky. Now, let's see how attentive you are. Look at these two logos. Which of them is the correct one? The one at the bottom. 2 moms, 2 daughters, 1 granny, and 1 granddaughter enter a cafe. How many chairs will they need to sit around the table? Just 3. Look at this image. It's filled with room, room, room. Can you find the odd word? Yep, there's a boom among all those rooms. What stones will you never find in a river? Dry ones, of course. Look at this rebus riddle. What does it mean? It's happy hour. Which Burger King logo is the correct one? It's the one on the right. You're only allowed to move one matchstick to make a square. How will you do it? Who said it was against the rules? James is carrying a barrel that weighs 60 pounds. What can the guy add to it to make it weigh 40 pounds? All James needs to add is a hole. No one said cheating is prohibited. Find a number that doesn't belong here. Right you are. 280 is different from all these 208s. Well, so far so good. Let's spice it up a bit. Level 2. Keep in mind that you'll get 2 points for each correct answer at this level. Look at these matches. Can you remove 2 matches to leave only 4 squares? That's how you do it. Great! Oof, these logos look pretty much the same to me. Which one is correct? The one on the top is the right one. Divide 30 by half and add 10. What will you get? The correct answer is 70. Most people divide 30 by 2, add 10, and get 25. But when you add a number by a fraction, you should actually multiply it by the number below the line called the denominator. This way, 30 times 2 plus 10 equals 70. Now how about this? Look at these TikTok logos. Which one is the real logo of the world-famous app? No peeping. Right, the lower layer is red. Then we've got black in the middle, and the turquoise layer is the top one. It took a witch 8 years to finish digging the deepest well in the world. Every next year, she managed to double its depth. How many years did it take the well to reach half of its maximum depth? "7 years. If the witch doubled the well's depth every year, it had to be half its final depth the year before it was completed." How can you pop a balloon with a knife without bursting or losing air in the process? Deflate the balloon. Only after that, stick the knife through it. Which is the exact shadow of the fish on the left? Well, it was tough, but I found the correct one. You're playing table tennis when your last ball falls into a 1-foot deep, narrow metal pipe embedded into the concrete floor. How can you get the ball out of the pipe if all you have is your tennis paddle, a plastic bottle filled with water, and your shoelaces? Pour the water from your bottle into the hole. The ball will float to the surface. You need to fill 2 empty sacks with coffee from the first sack. All 3 sacks are of the same size. How can you do it? Put one of the empty sacks into the other and then fill it with coffee. There are 100 books on the shelf. To count off 10 of them, you'll need 10 seconds. How much time will you spend counting off 80 books? Just 20 seconds. You'll need this time to count off 20 books, and the rest will make 80. Look at this picture. Who's the safest person here? It's the elderly lady who's driving the car. She will have no problems with her health whatsoever. Adam added 6 to 11 and got 5. It was the correct answer. How is it possible? It's correct if we talk about time. It's 11 a.m. If you add 6 hours, it'll be 5 p.m. Look at these logos. Which one is different? The logo on the left is the correct one. Pay attention to the robot's antenna. How can you take 1 from 19 and get 20? You can easily do it if you use Roman numerals. See for yourself. 3 cats can catch 3 mice in 3 minutes. How long will it take 10 cats to catch 10 mice? The same 3 minutes. No more, no less. Wow, this level made me sweat a bit. Level 3. Now this is the toughest level. That's why each correct answer equals 3 points. Let's start with a matchstick puzzle. How can you arrange to get 3 equal squares? This is the way to do it correctly. Can you figure out what's wrong in this picture? Roses don't grow on the seafloor. The same picture, but the mistake is different this time. Spiders don't live underwater. But then, where did this spider web come from? You need to get into your rival's computer, but it's password protected. The only hint you have is a note you found hidden under the keyboard. Can you figure out what the password is? It's moonlight. The number in front of each word refers to the corresponding letter of this word. An experimental clothing store decided to introduce a curious pricing scheme. According to it, a coat will cost $80, a pair of jeans will be $100. A raincoat will cost $160, and for a skirt, you will have to pay $80. Can you figure out how much a tie will cost in this store? $60. For each letter of the item's name, the store charges $20. There's a low railroad bridge in your town, and there's a car tunnel under it. One day, you spot a large truck. It's parked right in front of the tunnel. A confused driver is walking around the vehicle. You come up to him and ask what happened. It turns out that the truck is just a few inches higher than the allowed height. If the man drives inside, the car will get stuck. Unfortunately, there's no other road leading to the driver's destination. How can the truck get through the tunnel? You can suggest the driver should let the air out of the tires. It'll make the truck just the needed height. The driver can deal with the flat tires after passing through the tunnel. Look at this clock face. You need to divide it into 3 equal parts so that the sum of numbers inside these parts is the same. You can use no more than 2 lines. That's the way to go. The total of each part is 26. One woman could only use a payphone to make her calls. Once, the phone she'd been using broke. The woman informed the phone company. Several days had passed, but they did nothing. Then, the lady came to the company and asked to talk to the manager. After this conversation, the phone was immediately fixed. What did the woman say? She said she'd seen people making calls without paying. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot the mistake? Oh-ho, you need to have excellent observation skills to notice this. You need to make sure that an egg falls 50 feet and doesn't break. You can't slow down its fall or cushion its landing. How will you do it? Drop the egg from a height bigger than 50 feet, and for the first 50 feet, it won't break. And now, probably the most exciting part of this test, your results. If your score is 0 to 25 points, you might need some more time before you get a job in the laboratory. Try to concentrate on details and don't forget to practice every day. If you've got 26 to 50 points, you're almost there. You might even get the position of a trainee in that super secret facility. And if you've got 51 to 75 points, those working in the secret research lab would be begging you to join them. Your logical thinking and analytical skills would definitely come in handy there.